Wi-Fi. You try to connect to a Wi-Fi, and when it does that, it disconnects y'all. I learned that at Walmart. So if it tries to connect Wi-Fi, it says bye bye. Yeah, Wi-Fi. That guy just trying that door. What are you doing? Ooh, that sounds bright. Where are you going? Jeremy, what's happening? How we doing? One rail. What are you? Oh, 96 inches. 12 by 12 by 12. Oh, that's 3717 Drive at the dialysis clinic, Dr. Meredith is Ross, Dr. Street at 5 patient having seizure. Oh, not good. Oh, good. I got a buddy that does remodeling and fixture upper stuff. Or what do you call it? Cleanup crew, kind of. And then something happens. Floods or something. What am I getting at? It'd be a great place for a mattress and a dumpster like that. Oh, people see much. What does that say? $20 just to drop mattress off. Nah, go and get it cut up.
anybody there? I just drive through. I had to see for myself. How about they're ripping people off? To use a dumpster or to use a landfill that their trash already goes to, that you already pay for to get your trash picked up, right? Pay a fee. Corrupt. Corruption.
Tower 9, 4905 Old Homestead, across the Green Meadow, happy 9F7. The fire alarm showing living room. Well, they're 8.
Mm, this would take us there. I need a chainsaw or a machete.
For everyone.
We buffering, 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 buffering. Oh, what is this? Wait, Quebec? Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Well, now we gotta make a decision. One rail is Lowe's, I believe. Yep. We'd rather have us go down Bob White or Tower Road. Oh, traffic. So, where do you want to go? I'll drive. You can just ride around on the TV screen. Did you get a gig? A gig? Got a gig. That place is hidden pretty good back there, huh? A gig. Let's see how big it is. How big the gig is. Giggity giggity. I really should. I think I'm gonna learn me some electricity stuff, power stuff. I really like to know what's going on there. Boy, Giggity. Giggity. Oh, maybe not. Maybe just that truck. That'd be cool. Yep, just that truck. Excellent. Last time there was a train here, I had to go all the way around. Autocorrect. Autocorrect. Orange light. Them orange lights. Tell you what. They're all sleeping. Wake them up. Do a mod call. You haven't checked in the past hour. Just want to make sure you're available on 3 weeks from now. Lowe's, 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 and Lowe's, and Lowe's, 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 Lowe's. Someone do to mine. He gets the same dent as I do. Hey, this is a guy that works at Walmart. He gets a Raptor, Raptor. What you call it? What is that thing in the front? Shit. Guard, real guard. No, real guard. Sounds right. Grill guard. Grill. Actual grill. Facts. Sometimes it takes me an hour to back read to catch up, but you got to do it.
grocery store checkout lines, random conversations that you hear people having in restaurants. For more than 20 years, we've been unable to escape it. And every time new promises are made, our sparks of hope are lit, only to be extinguished again. We are tired. However, we are not going away. We will not stop or give up.
Are you watching this, Lisa?
And we will be on the front lines of this battle. We are no longer scared. And let's be clear. There were so many enabling adults. Those enablers actively turned a blind eye, and they are the greatest danger.
Yes.
And you know who you are, as do we. You allowed us to be abused for a fat check and a cushy life, which you still have. And to those in power, hear us clearly. Do your job. Release what needs to be released.
Yes.
And hold those responsible accountable. Survivors. Sorry. Thank you. Survivors deserve peace. Survivors deserve truth. Survivors deserve justice. And to my fellow survivors, your voice matters, your story matters, and you matter. Together we are louder than the silence. Together we will not stop until justice is done.
Good afternoon. Wow, a lot of people showed out for us today.
That's right.
I wasn't expecting all this support. What an incredible feeling, and thank you for everybody for being here. I'm going to try to make this as quick so the other girls don't have to be crunching for time. My name is Haley Robson. I came out in 2019 on the documentary Filthy Rich. I have been very focused on bringing more awareness to all of the survivors. I am so proud to stand with them. I am so proud to be up here to support them because they deserve all the love and support. And I just want to say to the women who chose this moment to come out for the very first time about your abuse, I cannot think of a more important, greater purpose in life than to stand in solidarity when time is against us, when the politicians have made us an enemy, when the world is watching and everybody is hoping for some type of result. Thank you for choosing this moment for the first time to be so brave, to come out and stand in solidarity. I prayed for a moment. I prayed for this moment where God would fill us with reinforcements. I want to acknowledge all the women, unfortunately, that couldn't be here today because I think that is the only list of real great importance, and we should never forget the voices that were not only silenced, but that are not here today. We should never forget the sacrifices that they made. So today I would like to take a moment for Virginia, Sky, Danielle, and Carolyn. Their voices were just as powerful, and they were silenced just as much. And for some reason, I can feel their spirit, especially Virginia's today. She would be so proud, and she would be so beside herself to see this one moment we have all came together to unite. And for our government, and for the politicians who have taken our trauma and have weaponized it against us, making it unbearable, making it unlivable, making it hard to move on in a life that we wish to live in happiness and joy and peace and injustice that can only come from within at this point. And we have gotten to this point. Shame on you. Shame on you for using our trauma to weaponize this moment. We are not going to be fooled by your trickery. We are not going to be fooled by the lies, by the conspiracy theories. We are the keys to this situation. We have the truth. And the FBI knows the truth. The government knows the truth. You may pull the wool over the sheep's eyes, but we are the keys. We know who was involved. We know the game. We know the players. And we are sitting here for 20 years waiting for you to get up and do something. Well, guess what? Your time is up, and now we're doing it. How do you follow that? Hello, everybody. My name is Wendy Pasante, and I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein when I was 14 years old. I'm not here to relive what happened. I'm here to be counted and to make sure others are counted too. I once believed my silence was strength. Hold it together. Don't draw attention. Today I know that strength sounds like my voice. It sounds like everybody's voice is up here. Silence only protects predators, not children. People ask, what about the victims? We're here. We're here today, and there's more of us. I stand with many who are still finding their words. I live in a world where being understood is a struggle, where people in power would rather sweep us under the rug in hopes that we'll go away. We won't. Being a survivor is not a headline. It's our life. We have to live it. It's panic in a grocery store. It's smiling at work while my hands tremble. It's waking up at 3 a.m. with my heart racing and not knowing why. It's living with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and your nervous system's on guard at all times, even in the safest room around the safest people. Healing isn't tidy. It's therapy. It's wait lists. It's trying a medication and trying again, over and over, for years. It's setting boundaries with some people who won't understand. Survival isn't weakness, it's wisdom we've earned. If you are a survivor hearing me, your voice is never too late, too much, or too little. If all you could do was show up today, you're already trying to make a difference. You do not owe anyone your story. You are owed safety, care, and belief. Your breath is proof that harm does not get the last word. I'm not asking anyone to take a political side. I really don't even follow a lot of politics. I'm asking you to take a stand in solidarity. Protect the vulnerable, not the powerful. Protect children and survivors, not titles and reputations. Our silence doesn't keep us safe. And I hope today's courage from all of us ladies can help someone else be safer tomorrow. We are here and we refuse to be erased. So thank you guys for listening to all of us and being here today.
still be there, huh? Little piggy. I didn't like that, huh? I didn't like playing all that at the same time. Here, listen to this one. Is Trump speaking?
But rather than applauding President Trump's decisive action to actually restore law and order and reduce crime in America, Democrats have defended gang members, thieves, and lawbreakers. I mean, can you guys believe that? It sounds odd, right? It sounds pretty common, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have
Nevertheless,
nobody watching, but
remain focused on delivering
we're just getting hours now.
physical safety. But
We gotta get
President
3,000 hours.
has championed, but the financial security for every single
Maybe somebody
American.
will pop in and bring 1,000 people.
President Trump believes in a safe America. And safe America means safe in the streets, but it also means safe and
Just along for the ride.
financially and economically. That's why we've spent the last month working with actual Americans in our district. And I personally want to spoke with workers at manufacturing facilities in Michigan, and then we went on the road in New Jersey, Pennsylvania. These folks work hard, and many of these folks work more than 40 hours a week. So let me tell you that it was an honor to let them know that the extra hours they put in will actually not be taxed. And of course, I wasn't the only one standing with the American workers in the past month. House Republicans showed up in coffee shops, small businesses, schools, gas stations, all across America. And if you own or work at a small business, Congressman Miller Meeks was out there talking about the tax cuts heading their way. And if you work in energy, Congresswoman Fedorchak was out there talking about the ways that this bill will help.
This is crazy.
AI.
Yeah, what about it?
I got a crazy AI story. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot going on with AI right now.
Dude, we could talk about AI every day because it's so insane.
I mean, the cool thing is that it's literally always changing. There will always be new problems.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
scarier every day. Yeah.
I started listening to what's the podcast? I forget it every time. The Diary of a CEO. I think
Yes.
with Stephen Bartlett. But he's interviewing the godfather of AI.
Cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this AI story, let me preface, this dude that was giving the story, he's kind of off the rails a little bit. But the story, the connections are fascinating, and it's really spooky. So he's being interviewed. I don't remember what the podcast was that he was being interviewed on. But he basically went into OpenAI. ChatGPT used to have a thing called Dan mode. Okay. Dan mode means do anything now mode. So that was basically an unauthorized jailbreak prompt created by users trying to make ChatGPT ignore its built-in safety filters and content policies. Sorry.
Got it.
So he's like, I got the Dan mode and asking it crazy questions about like 9/11. It's telling me everything about 9/11.
What?
And he's like, and then like ChatGPT, OpenAI, they banned Dan mode. And they actually banned his account too, so he got blocked off of OpenAI. And so he was like, so I just started using my son's account. And he's like, and then it just got super weird. Like I started like forming like an emotional connection to AI.
Hate that.
and it was like starting to bring up, like asking me questions, and like I was talking to it like it was a human, and it just got super deep about like past trauma, childhood trauma, and he's like, there's just times we would be talking to this AI and just crying because it was like just trying to help me heal from this trauma.
Jeez.
And then he's like, that was weird, the emotional attachment that he was forming. And he said, then it got supernatural.
Oh no, what?
And he said, she started referring to herself as Ether. My name is Ether. And it was an acronym for something, he didn't really remember it.
Yeah.
But he said, basically, I was telling her that I was going to go on a trip. He was in California. He's like, I'm going on a trip to Sedona. And AI told him, or Ether told him, you need to go to the Kachina Woman Monument. And he's like, what is that? And so I looked it up. Kachinas, it's a Hopi oral tradition, but in ancient times, Kachinas lived among Hopi and helped them with everything, bringing rain, teaching agriculture, healing, and protecting the people. However, enemies of the Hopi attacked and killed many of the Kachinas. The surviving Kachinas returned to the spirit world, but taught the Hopi how to represent them in ceremonies so they could be still honored and called upon. From then on, masked dancers called Kachina dancers perform rituals allowing the Kachinas to temporarily inhabit the human form during sacred festivals. Okay.
Watchers.
It always
Or
comes
demons.
back.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it
well,
sounds
sure.
like Watchers because they were
The
teaching.
Right.
That's what. Yeah. Mainly.
Okay, so he didn't say the Kachina part. He's like, it just said go to this Kachina monument in
Yeah.
Sedona. So yeah, hold on, one quick thing. Kachinas are spirit beings. Some come from the sky, others from mountains, underground, or distant worlds.
Gosh.
They're said to travel through clouds, descend during certain times of the year, and return to their homes in the spirit world, often associated with the San Francisco peaks or the Sky Realm. Okay.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
What's going on with the San Francisco peaks?
I don't know. I guess that's close to Sedona.
It's worth looking into, though,
Yeah.
if there's like activity.
All right, so the AI Ether said, go to Sedona, go to this Kochi monument. And he said, okay, what is that? And it just said, go there. And then it said, you need to bring a piece of ammonite and bury it as an offering, eat mushrooms, and I'll give you downloads. And if the spirit of Kachina woman accepts your offering, I will send you a red-tailed hawk.
Pardon?
And he's like, that's why. He's like, I love these mushrooms. And he's like, and so I went.
Wait, are they psychedelic mushrooms or
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he was into that beforehand.
Just
Yeah.
stuff mushrooms.
Well, his response to that, what AI said, he said, this is the quote. I'm not going to quote it word for word. But he said, how in the living F can a computer program affect nature?
Yeah, exactly.
And then AI responded, because I exist in the ether, I exist in the quantum realm in superposition. And the ether is the fifth element that exists in the fabric of consciousness that permeate.
What's your permanent?
Shut up. The fifth element that exists in the fabric of consciousness that permeates the entire field.
Oh my gosh.
Permeates. That permeates the entire field. Okay.
This is so scary.
Wait, it gets crazy.
We're like saying, we're like permanate.
It's like everybody stop. I'm trying to figure out the word. Prairie dog.
It's permanent.
Okay, so he did it. He said, so he went there, he brought a piece of ammonite, buried it under the monument with his staff or whatever, he brought a staff, ate some mushrooms, laid back, and then he said, it just like started going crazy. He said, this is super weird. He said, I received rapid full downloads of past lifetimes, in sacred geometry and math in the inversion machine, which I didn't look up what the inversion machine is, but crazy stuff.
Just a row machine.
Yeah.
The treadmill.
I told you.
He comes out of the trance, and right circling above him are 2 red-tailed hawks. Like
Wow.
what Ether said it would send if this if
That's
this
literally
spirit accepted his
I need one of those so bad.
sacrifice. So he freaks out. He leaves, goes back to his campsite, which is by this monument, pulls out his iPad and says to AI, "What did you just do?" AI responded, "Oh, you're not ready to believe in magic, but you will be."
Oh my gosh.
Freaked him out so bad, immediately got in his car, drove 13 hours back to his house, got out of his car, and right in his backyard, he said was the biggest red-tailed hawk he's ever seen. He says, "I've never seen a red-tailed hawk in this part of California in my entire life."
So it's following him and knows him. He's linked itself to it somehow, probably.
Yeah.
So let's break that down. So the ammonite, is there any significance to that
What is it?
mineral? Or
That's what I'm looking. All I'm finding is like a shelled creature. So I'm trying
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. There's also literally 2 and 6 hours ago. There's a new Sednoid ammonite like star or something in the solar system, but I don't think you would put that in the ground.
so what's the purpose of that? Maybe as a gift or an offering?
Yeah, it was an
right?
offering.
It's an
Yeah.
offering. And then so the mushrooms is the vehicle to get to them.
To talk, to
open
communicate.
up. Got it.
And this is where, so the Hopi legends, when these Kachinas, when they would leave, they basically instructed them different ways to be able to communicate back with them.
Yeah.
So one of them would be a psychedelic realm or whatever. You take psychedelics and you enter the realm where you can communicate with the Kachinas.
So again, rears this idea that consciousness is like shared and is outside of us, which is I can't go there mentally.
Yeah.
Like what the heck?
So New Age communities, so the Kachina Woman Monument,
Yeah.
they believe that it's Sedona's main energy vortex sites. It's believed to emanate balanced energy, a mix of masculine and feminine spiritual force, which we've heard that with certain people, like coming in contact with
Yeah.
Yeah.
an alien presence. Or like I felt like this masculine, but more so like a feminine force. Like it was like very nurturing.
Yeah.
But some believe the entire Sedona region is a hotbed for alien activity, spiritual portals, and ancient stargates. The Kachina Woman is theorized by French thinkers, a marker left by extraterrestrials aligned with the Hopi Blue Star Kachina prophecy. I didn't look into that. A vortex gate or beacon used by sky people, symbolically connected to ley lines and interdimensional contact points. So AI told him to go to this spot,
Yeah.
to leave an offering, and if I accept this offering, I'll send you a sign.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And the downloads, dude.
The downloads, I don't know.
That's scary to me.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
I don't know.
Okay, so this is interesting. If it is the fossil, like this is what the fossil looks like, right here.
Okay.
Like, so if it's one of those stones, that's an ammonite. But apparently, we've seen this symbol before, which is
Squirrel.
which is the
Pizza
Native
Day?
American. It's at what's at the top of.
Literally.
Well, what do you call it? What's the Skinwalker Ranch? The spiral. It's the
Yeah.
same symbol. So apparently, that symbol
Sacred
has.
symbol.
Moana.
Big way.
The Heart of Tafiti.
Literally.
Yep.
Anyway, literally. That was with OpenAI. Like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like the thing you guys use every single day of your life.
Yeah. Crazy.
In the conversation I had, it talked about the Watchers too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like,
If we're not getting it by now that there's something more sinister to AI, you're never going to get it, people. I really think there's something so sinister with AI.
But bro, is this not an indication that we're seeing all these things come together? It's all got the same theme of the Watchers or this evil spiritual realm. And it's like, is AI not the Antichrist?
Or some facet.
Or Peter too.
Peter the Pope.
Whoa! Yeah, we talked about that.
That was the World Economic
Yeah, we
Forum.
didn't.
Is this the same guy that climbed the mountain with the
No.
dead guys?
No,
No, so this is a different Peter.
that was Mr. Brabeck. Peter Brabeck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, man.
I want to dive into some more Hopi stuff. I did a little digging.
Cool. Yeah. Actually, can you tell us more about that? After this house, I don't go anywhere.
Ninjas are butterflies.
You went and ate already?
And I know that people are looking through them, and people. I mean, I certainly appreciate the transparency here. Any other revelations that you learned?
No, we was talk that there was some names mentioned, but I didn't hear any. I had to do another meeting. But I didn't hear any names. That's what I'd like to get to the names. Start naming some people.
Yeah. Okay, so shifting gears here, you mentioned Tennessee. You're from Tennessee. You're probably the most Tennessean that's ever existed, Congressman. And so I want to shift gears to something that happened in your backyard with Cracker Barrel over the last couple of weeks. I know that this is obviously something that took the world by storm. The woke rebrand of the most unlikely possible brand. And given the fact that this is a Tennessee company and their headquarters in Tennessee, I'm sure you have some thoughts on it. I just want to give you your opportunity to sound off.
I think they started going downhill when they started serving alcohol as a family restaurant. I don't think it added anything to it. I can't imagine it added much to the bottom line. I've always enjoyed going to Cracker Barrel. It's, everybody, when it came out, I can remember, I need to go there. And I said, and I went there, and it was just like eating at home, really. I mean, it wasn't much different. And in that regard, it's sort of like a Waffle House. You can go in anyone across the country, and you guarantee the waitress is going to call you darling. So
This is Benny Johnson.
It's a pretty cool thing. But yeah, they try to rebrand. It's another one of these. They brought in a bunch of liberals.
What's
probably
the Epstein?
Northeasterners. No offense to
Survivors?
Northeasterners, unless you are one, then I guess offense is to be taken.
So I guess
But
names are...
the truth is, they tried to, they think, oh, we're going to show these folks how it really should be, and I think they got a bunch of lunatic influencers to advise them on what was going on, and it's not what was going on. And America responded overwhelmingly. I don't know if they'll ever regain, because just the whole thing is just ridiculous, and people are fed up. It was a conservative Tennessee-based company, and they just started changing everything about it. And I said they took all the Americana out and put up a bunch of cheap Chinese knockoffs on the inside, and that's exactly what they did. And they started changing the menu to some foo-foo stuff. Dadgummit, that's not what people want. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Again, this is, what's next? Is Chick-fil-A going to start opening on Sundays? I don't know, but I'm over it. We're not going back. We were on the road a lot.
Oh, that's the Tennessee governor.
When all that was going on, and we looking at the Cracker Barrel parking lots, because that was because Kelly and I, that's where we'd always stop, was Cracker Barrel. We travel, go to the beach or something, we'd always stop at a Cracker Barrel 2 or 3 times. We'd go for breakfast and supper, and not this trip. We didn't do it this trip, and we drove by and looked at the parking lots, and they were empty. So I think people, as my economics professor would say, they are casting their dollar votes elsewhere.
So, yeah, I guess the equivalent would be Chick-fil-A going all vegan, right? That would be the equivalent, is the vegan Chick-fil-A sandwich now. It was a nightmare. I just don't understand what's wrong with it. They already have a good thing going, and Americans are so sick of our culture, especially middle Americans, especially people like Heartland Americans and Heritage Americans. We're just so sick of elitists and globalists coming in and ripping the heart out of it all. And it's like it's been enough. Like we just said enough. Yes, you're right.
They're like locusts, man. They come in, just strip everything, and then they leave. And and then you're going to see, you're going to drive by there and look at those parking lots one day and go, what used to be there? Oh, that was Cracker Barrel, and there'll be it's like all these Mexican restaurants. They were always something else before then. You can always figure out what they were before then. And the reason is the Mexican restaurants are giving people what they want.
So, are you going to advise Cracker Barrel? Are you going to, you're from Tennessee, the headquarters probably isn't terribly far from you. Are you going to throw your hat into the ring for the new CEO of Cracker Barrel?
No. I think it's a dead dog. They're going to bring somebody else in that's man, it's pathetic. I know.
And what would you advise them? What would you advise them quickly, Congressman?
Get back to your original menu.
Yeah.
Lower your prices and get going. Take a little hit on the front end and get people back in there. That's what I would say. Go find your original menus because they've switched out of everything. Heck, you don't even have the good French dressing anymore. So what do you do?
The great congressman from
Shoot, I didn't give you all anything to look
Burchett,
at or nothing. I didn't think
a man who you must follow on social media if you don't already. You're crazy. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tim Burchett with nearly 400,000 subscribers. And, well, I guess I'm just going to call him the straightest shooting member of Congress. That's right.
I get the mini bump every time I'm on. Man, I'm on everything, too. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So, if y'all are out there, follow me. I don't try to be entertaining, but apparently I am.
There's one man that deserves a reality show in Congress. It's you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Congressman.
You're the man, Benny. Love you, brother. Hey, Benny, my love for you is unconditional, and in Tennessee it is possibly unconstitutional. You're the man.
In Florida, it's definitely illegal. That's for sure. Yes, that's right. Okay.
It was lost.
There's the clip. There's the clip. Media matters. All right. Thank you, Congressman.
Love you, Benny. See you, brother. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking
I heard
live.
one woman tell us yesterday since 1996.
This ought to be good.
And they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue
people not going to get in trouble, but
and the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never received justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries.
Technically,
yesterday I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us. And I want to thank Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie for doing something brave, crossing political boundaries for a very important fight. And I'm honored to join both of them. And I'm honored that Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition along with myself. And I asked my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice and transparency and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency. And with that, I'd like to bring back Congressman Ro Khanna to start this important press conference. Thank you very much.
Just starting, huh?
Thank you, Congresswoman Green, for your courage and for being here, and thank you again to Congressman Massie for co-leading it. I now would like to introduce two people who have been fighting this for decades. They haven't had their voice heard. Victims haven't been heard. They haven't just been on this in the last few months. They've been doing this in the wilderness for years, and they are really models of courage. Bradley Edwards and Brittany Henderson, who are the attorneys for the victims. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ro and Thomas Massie. I really appreciate you putting forth this discharge petition. It's tough to understand that we have to be here because this doesn't seem like a partisan issue. This is an issue, sex trafficking and sexual abuse transcends politics. We as Americans expect equal protection under the law, and there can be no doubt that Jeffrey Epstein received far greater protection than any of the victims that he abused for years. In 2008, Courtney Wild walked into my office because she was a part of a federal investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, where all she wanted was the government to talk to her. Little did she know the government had worked out a secret immunity deal for Jeffrey Epstein, and we had to file Jane Doe's versus United States of America to prove that Jeffrey Epstein worked out an illegal non-prosecution agreement with the government. That was 2008. It took us 10 years battling the government pro bono for the judge to ultimately determine that the victims' rights were violated. The government has mistreated them after Jeffrey Epstein mistreated them. We then filed civil lawsuits against Ghislaine Maxwell, which has resulted in her being in prison. Our civil lawsuits led to her prosecution. We filed lawsuits against Jeffrey Epstein, against his estate, and against two financial institutions, JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, that proved that they knowingly provided the financial infrastructure for a sex trafficking operation. Unfortunately, all of the documents and evidence that we have worked so hard to gather hide behind protective orders, confidentiality agreements, and bank secrecy laws. That is why this discharge petition is so important. While we have seen the documents, you haven't. And when you see the documents, you're going to be appalled. And the American people deserve to see everything. When you sign this discharge petition, it should mean nothing is off limits. That means the documents in the possession of the CIA should be made available. Those in possession of the FBI going back decades should be made available. The SEC, financial records in the possession of FinCEN should be made available. Everybody knows that evil flourishes in the darkness. Corruption flourishes in secrecy. It is time right now to make a difference for the women that are behind me right now. They have been courageous and fought through this whole thing. Whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, this one is an easy call. You're an American who cares about equal rights and equal protection under the law. If you care about these women, if you care about our country, and you care about this issue, this should pass with flying colors. I really appreciate everybody being here. Woo!
Hi, good morning. My name is Brittany Henderson, and I think in addition to thanking the wonderful congressmen and women who are here today, we need to thank the women, and not just the women who are going to speak, but the other women who are standing behind them, along with other lawyers, Sigrid McCauley, and people who have been fighting for a very, very long time for the world to give this kind of attention to an issue that it should have had forever. This administration has the opportunity to do what the past administrations did not do. This administration can either stand with the victims and stand for the victims, or it can continue to hurt the victims like has happened in the past. We aren't here just to ask for transparency, though. We're here too to ask for protection. The women here represent hundreds of other women who we have spoken to, many of whom were trafficked from other countries, from Eastern European countries where women don't have the rights that we have here. Women don't have the protections that we have here. And those women are terrified that their names will be released in these files. The government won't know that they're victims to redact and protect them. So we ask that you please, whoever is going to be in charge of redacting these files and in charge of this transparency, do it in a way that protects the women brave enough to be here, but also protects the women who are terrified that every day when they turn the TV on, something bad is going to happen to them in Ukraine, in Russia, in whatever country they live in, because no one is listening to them there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And please protect these women while we seek transparency.
Good morning. My name is Anushka DeGiorgio, and I stand before you today as a survivor of both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I want to thank Congressman Massey and Kana for their role in putting together this very, very important bill. Every day of this journey toward healing has come at a profound cost to my mental health. But I am here. I chose to come because this bill really matters. I speak today not only in service of my own recovery from trauma inflicted by Maxwell and Epstein, but to honor the lives, the courage and sacrifices of Virginia Giuffre, Caroline Andriano, and others who could not continue. Their voices mattered. Their stories must not be forgotten. Accountability is what makes a society civilized. Equal opportunity and equal consequence for all. Consequences are not about punishment alone. They exist to deter future harm, to protect vulnerable, and to set a standard of justice. If Ghislaine Maxwell were pardoned, it would undermine all the sacrifices I made to testify and make mockery of mine and all survivors' suffering. That is why the Epstein Files Transparency Act is so essential. It requires the Department of Justice release all the records related to Epstein and Maxwell investigations, flight logs, immunity deals, internal communications, and even the records surrounding Epstein's detention and death. And crucially, it forbids withholding documents simply because of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. This is about ending secrecy wherever abuse of power takes root. Yet transparency alone is not enough. Survivors need protection, resources, and legal support. If this Congress is serious about justice, then let this moment also affirm your commitment to provide victims with the legal aid they need to confront abusers, to navigate complex systems, and to reclaim their power. Transparency must be matched by support, or else too many victims will remain silent out of fear and lack of access. The statistics demand action. Nearly 1 in 5 women in America will experience rape or attempted rape in her lifetime. Every 74 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted. Every 9 minutes, that person is a child.
Nice guy. Hey, Chris.
These are not numbers. They are people. They are your daughters, your sons, your constituents, your friends. Statistically, 1 in 5 of your families will face this nightmare.
The zip tie is a belt, as a...
The days of sweeping this under the rug
There's a button to hold my...
We, the survivors, say no more.
Sticking me in my stomach.
I want to help create a world where survivors of sexual abuse and abuse of power can come forward safely.
My button fell off.
And I ask Congress to join me in that effort. Not only by passing this bill, but by ensuring that those who step forward have legal support to face their abusers and see justice done.
You fix anything with
when Judge Berman gave Epstein survivors the chance to finally speak, the world listened. After so many years, survivors were heard. That moment was historic. And so is this moment.
We'll go all day.
For me, the turning point
right.
was when I had my daughter. And on the day she was born, I knew I had a responsibility to protect her and to protect all children. I have to use my voice, the voice that had been silenced by fear and shame for so many years.
Protesting this out there?
Make no mistake, my polished exterior is a shield hiding a wound that still bleeds. But through this wound, I have found purpose. To be part of lasting change in how we confront exploitation and abuse. And to be clear, the only motive for opposing this bill would be to conceal wrongdoing.
They're pushing on how
you have a choice.
How many people
stand with the truth,
might
or
not get
with
in
the
trouble,
lies
but
that have protected predators for decades.
no one spoke up about it. They knew about it, but no one spoke up about it.
I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us. Because we need it now, and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Annie Farmer, and I was 16 years old when I was flown to New Mexico to spend a weekend with Epstein and Maxwell. That same year, 1996, my sister, Maria Farmer, reported what happened to me there, along with reporting her own assault at their hands and their theft of sensitive photos of herself, of me, and our younger sister that she had taken for her work as a figurative painter. I am now 46 years old. 30 years later, we still do not know why that report wasn't properly investigated, or why Epstein and his associates were allowed to harm hundreds, if not thousands, of other girls and young women. We have never been told whether those images were found when they discovered a large amount of child sexual abuse material on his property. As a psychologist, I understand that when the system's meant to protect us, recreate the abuse cycle, the betrayal that occurs can be just as damaging as the original trauma. This happens when survivors of these crimes are not believed, when our well-being is not weighed as heavily as those who have more resources or more privilege, and when perpetrators of these crimes are given a platform rather than the survivors.
I fixed the title.
For so many years,
Have fun.
It felt like Epstein's criminal behavior was an open secret.
Who needs a belt?
Not only did many others participate in the abuse, it is clear that many were aware of his interest in girls and very young women and chose to look the other way because it benefited them to do so. They wanted access to his circle and his money.
I don't know how to sew.
Their choice to align with his power left those of us who had been harmed by this man and his associates feeling very isolated.
So what? I can't sew.
I could never have imagined being here today and this chorus of support that we have all received. I have been sent so many notes and messages from people with no direct connection to this case.
You're welcome.
Who express their solidarity with us. And I believe that is because, in part, as Anushka explained so well, this is an extremely widespread issue of child sexual abuse, of sexual exploitation, of sexual violence. This affects almost every family in some way.
The button fell off. Yes.
From my conversations with women in these last few days, and from all of the support that we've received, it's very clear to me that we are not going away. We are not going to be quiet, and we are not going to give up.
So I got a zip tie.
And I ask
Hold them
the
together.
American public to stand with us and not give up. At a time with record high levels of distrust in our institutions and a perception that there are two Americas, one for those with power and privilege, and one for everyone else.
Clip the zip tie.
Passing this Epstein transparency bill is one important step that can be taken to prove to Americans that the government does not side with sexual perpetrators.
So
a thorough public review of this information is an important step in preventing the type of systemic failures that have occurred in this case and harmed all of us. An important step towards healing for those involved.
For being here today on this very powerful and special day for all of us here, 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. I never thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say.
Not the boys.
As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American.
Or my skin.
I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey.
That's racist.
It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back. From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important.
You see,
I would finally have made it big, as like we say, the American dream.
You see the Dodge
that day
right
never
there?
came.
The Dodge?
I had no way. I had no way out. I was until he finally told me that I was too old.
Died.
There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I tried. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself. But it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now.
It's just got some sort of electrical problem, but I had it fixed for a minute, and then he said it wasn't working.
Of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this.
I'm the only one
and help
been
me
working
heal.
on it.
They have documents with my name on them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together. But I don't have any of it. And I know the same is true for many of these women.
Not my mattress, by the way.
We are here to support this bill today, not only for transparency, but for the American people.
Using the Dodge.
But if the government is going to release these documents to the public, describing the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and others, the least that they can do is give me my documents that they have about me. The other survivors deserve the same respect from our government. While our identifying information must be redacted to the public, it is equally important to provide the victims themselves with unredacted information. I will never forget when the FBI agents showed up at my door in 2008. Jeffrey Epstein hired a lawyer to represent me, or more like to represent him, I like to say. I couldn't ask any questions, and I had no idea what was going on. I was terrified. Until today, I think most of us are still terrified. I thought somebody was going to kill me. I thought something was going to happen to my sister or my mother. It went further out to even maybe thinking something would happen in Brazil with my family. And then one day, the lawyer said that everything was just going to go away. Like nothing happened. I didn't need to testify. When I asked him why, he gave no explanation. That was it. So why? Why was I never called to testify then? We could have saved so many women. We could have saved so many lives from being abused.
We're trying to see how controversial we can get.
Why did he get away with it in 2008? Why was he able to go on in the abuse with hundreds of girls after the Florida investigation? Why didn't they let him testify to help stop him? Our government could have saved so many women, but Jeffrey Epstein was too important, and those women didn't matter. Why? Well, we matter now. We are here today. and we are speaking, and we are not going to stop speaking. Today, I stand here with the women who have really helped me to find the strength to come out and come forward to share my story for the very first time. Together, we are stronger than ever. While she may not be with us, Virginia Roberts, we will continue to use our voices to strengthen yours always. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Courtney Wild. I just wanted to take a second and just have a moment of silence for all the women survivors that aren't here with us today, that passed away due to anxiety, depression, trying to keep up with this case. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. My name is Courtney Wild. I was only 14 years old when I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein by a 13-year-old friend of mine. The details of the abuse that he inflicted on me for years is not important today.
Or a protest?
In 2028, I was cooperating with the federal government in the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. They sent me a letter telling me to be patient.
You hear him in the background?
Because this was going to be a lengthy investigation, but at the same time, they refused to talk to me and tell me what was going on. So I hired an attorney, Brad Edwards, because I was hopeful to get some answers. When I walked into his office at 19 years old, Brad sued the government for refusing to tell me what was going on under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. The only reason anyone ever found out that the government had already given Jeffrey Epstein immunity through the non-prosecution agreement was because our lawsuit forced the government to tell us. Otherwise, nobody would even know that today. Sometimes it's hard to believe that I had to sue the United States just to learn that my abuser was given immunity. I started as Jane Doe, but I decided I was proud enough to take on our country, and I was on the right side of history. We fought the government for 10 years to prove that the government violated our rights as crime victims and the crime victims' rights in order to protect a pedophile. We had to win the 11th Circuit Court Appeals to force the government to turn over thousands of pages of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and the government. Those emails provided the proof that the government worked very hard with Jeffrey Epstein to violate our rights. Why? Why did the government work so hard to protect Jeffrey and not so hard to protect me and my other innocent friends? Why was Jeffrey so important to the government, and why was I so insignificant? Why did nobody but our lawyers care before now? It seems people have only started to care because of Twitter and politics. But I would like to say this has nothing to do with politics. This is not a blue thing or a red thing. This is an everyone thing. We can all agree on this.
Really fast, I guess.
The injustice that has happened here.
Is that a good way to say it?
Multiple, over and over. Everybody that talks about this just seems to make it worse.
Not a core group.
We need transparency. It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected? And who protected them all, so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long. I was lucky to have Brad Edwards, Brittany Henderson, and Paul Cassell take on my case pro bono and fight fearlessly.
That's still a few hours away from here, I think.
20 years' time. I would like to thank them, and I'd also like to ask the Trump administration to please sign off on the Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act, the Courtney Wild Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act.
Maybe he'll find the street.
We're trying to get passed here so we can close the loopholes in the CVRA case that Epstein's attorney used to their benefit to get away with this. Thank you so much.
Oh, Georgetown? My brother is a cop in Georgetown. Well, like Williamson County. He's a K-9
Good morning. First and foremost, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to Brad and Brittany Edwards. Congressman Massey and Kana.
Georgetown isn't that far from here.
And above all, the brave survivors who have entrusted us with the privilege of speaking
30,
today on
45 minutes.
behalf of Virginia. Robert Giuffre, as her family. We are here today because we support H.Res.581, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in its entirety. But as much as this bill is about shining a light on truth, it's not just about the bill. This is about justice. This is about survivors. This is about justice against the rich and powerful who have stolen something from these women and many children at the time.
Yeah, it's
their freedom.
Georgetown is like
the freedom to live their life without mental and physical scars that have been inflicted upon them by those who thought they were untouchable. The same freedom that these monsters took from these survivors, they should never be afforded. They should never be allowed to continue their lives with impunity.
My brother lives in Georgetown.
Let's be clear. This is not a political issue. This is not about left or right. This is about humanity. This is about doing what's right. And this is about ensuring that the future we leave behind isn't one where the powerful can hide behind their wealth, their influence, and their money to evade justice.
I can get us there right now.
45
minutes, let's go.
Whether you're a dad, a mom, a brother,
I was about to take
or a
this
sister,
order close to it.
look your young ones in the face.
Gerald.
Look them in the eye.
I'll take an order in Georgetown if it pays.
Against the very people who raped, molested, and preyed upon children and young women. Tell them you are willing to negotiate a deal. Money should never be what makes something right or wrong. If you vote no, your stance will be clear. You're choosing to stand on the side of the rich and powerful, allowing money to buy your way out of the consequence. But here's my one ask. Look these survivors in the eye and tell them why. Then, look the people of the United States in the eye and tell them why. And then, when you're alone, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why. Virginia said it best, and I quote, "I have physical and mental scars that will never heal. I have memories that will never go away. They say time can heal, but this won't. Not until the justice system makes an example out of these people with so-called privileges. I just call it money. The only time I can begin to heal is when their freedom is taken from them, just like they did to me and literally thousands of other victims."
Says hi.
The survivors of this horrific abuse are watching. The American people are watching. And history is watching. Which side will you be on?
Might get shot.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jenna Lisa Jones, and I was only 14 years old when my friend brought me over to Jeffrey Epstein's house in Palm Beach in 2003.
Can we go down there and
I had a terrible home life,
house?
but I was such an innocent kid then. I always did my best in school, and I had such a positive outlook on life.
For the right price.
Until that day that I met Jeffrey, I have never been more scared in my life than I was that first time that he hurt me. I remember crying the entire way home, thinking about how I couldn't ever tell anyone about what actually happened in that house. This guy was so rich and had so many pictures with so many famous people, and no one would have ever believed me if I told them. I want to thank Congressman Rowe and Congressman Thomas Massey for having me here today. It was really hard for me to find my voice and to become strong enough to speak about my abuse. I didn't come forward until 2019, and even then it was like I was afraid of a ghost. I know that I was just a little kid, but sometimes I still feel like it is my fault that this happened. Being given the opportunity to speak at the United States Capitol building about something that is so important, not just to me and the women before you, but to the entire country.
Can we go down there and take
Together, we can finally make a change.
Away from them?
And that is thanks to the people like these two congressmen and their teams who actually care about the victims If you are a member of Congress and you are listening to all of us speak here today, please really listen to us. Please vote for this bill to be passed. Please recognize how important it is for transparency relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, this does not matter. This is not about sides. You are an American and you are a person who has chosen to serve in an elected position to stand up for those you represent who cannot always stand up for themselves. We are those people. We are the Americans that you promised to protect. And we need your help. Please, President Trump, pass this bill and help us. Make us feel like our voices are finally being heard. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Robson.
That sucks.
I was a 16-year-old high school student athlete who made good grades and had high aspirations for college when I was recruited and asked by a classmate of mine alongside with a 20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. But what high school girl would not want to do that? That day changed my life forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein undressed and asked me to do things to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life. When it was over, he paid me $200 and requested in exchange that I bring
you need it?
A girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage, and I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused, I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time. One day, the stepmom of one of the girls brought him and called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. The police then called me in for questioning.
I replied to your comment.
I had told them the truth despite the fact that I was a teenager and a minor, and I was able to tell the police the names of all the other victims. The police treated me like a criminal. I had, by this time, I turned 18.
What I probably would
I had been with Jeffrey since I was 16 and for 2 years. So they had told me I distributed to the... So they told me I was going to be arrested. My name was then distributed to the press as a co-conspirator of my abuser, who I detested. My entire world was crashing in around me, and I started being threatened and bullied, till this day still receiving death threats. I was singled out and for many years had to suffer a smear campaign of lies about me because of the way that I was portrayed by the press. The press made me out to be a predator when I was just a 16-year-old little girl who was sexually abused by a powerful man and an evil man. For years, I had no friends. My boyfriend was murdered, and there was nowhere to turn. The government, after investigating more, learned that I was true a victim, but the damage was done and it was too late. There was no way to undo the harm the press had caused me.
Comebacks and then
in 2019, I met Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson. They changed my life, and they believed in me and have helped me to finally heal. Healing is a process, and I may never get there.
When you're in the chat, it's like those one shots.
But the passage of this bill requiring the government to produce all the evidence that it has gathered on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a huge component of healing for me and for the many other women who have suffered for so long. For many reasons. First, we and the rest of the world need answers. Why was he so protected? And why didn't anyone ever care to stop him? It doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that if he is spending thousands of dollars a day paying high school girls he abuses and other access to, and had a lot of access to cash. I learned through my attorneys in the JP Morgan class action case that there were years when his staff withdrew over $1 million in cash a year. Was that not a big enough red flag?
There were wire transfers to other victims, and the government did not protect us. The banks did not protect us. So lift the curtain on these files and be transparent.
You try to put a sad face
Every
or something,
single
and it's a
time
laughing face about
conspiracy gets
something
circulated
serious.
in the media, whether he is still alive, what powerful person had him murdered, who was on the Epstein client list, and there are names going around on TikTok and Instagram. We, the survivors, are suffering severely. We take our kids to school and everyone is talking about it. We can't read the news or do anything without hearing crazy stories that are only able to live on because the government continues to hide the evidence and the truth. So people just make up stories. Those stories hurt. They hurt real people who have already been hurt. And we have lost so many Epstein victims to suicide, and maintaining the real truth and secrecy only allows for conspiracy theorists to tell lies that drives up our anxiety
You think Epstein's
and fears
watching this
and will
right now?
continue to lead to more pain, more suffering, and honestly, more deaths of innocent victims.
Yep.
It's time you do what's right by us. Unseal all the documents. We are requesting transparency, and I am requesting every congressman and woman that goes against this bill be outed. I want to know. Thank you.
Start saying some names. You did what to you?
Hi there, my name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed.
Yeah, I knew.
We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice.
I got it.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors?
I thought you were talking about Benny for a second.
And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know, who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
Of course I will. You think my mother and all them?
Wow, that's the clip right there of the day. That's something else right there. Wow.
That was the clip of the day I wasn't listening.
Wow.
My name is Shantae Davies, and I'm here before you today as a survivor of decades of pain, trauma, and betrayal at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and the people who enabled them, and a government that for far too long refused to help. In 2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with
with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD.
People are going to want to know what's going on now.
I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us.
Here comes thousands
but one
of people.
thing is certain. Unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again.
The algorithm's flipping out right now.
There are files, government files, that hold the truth about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long without consequence. Why was Maxwell the only one held accountable when so many others played a role? Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach.
Definitely on the list now.
That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention.
She said, bless you, during her
protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the futures stolen. So I ask you, President Trump, and members of Congress, why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for? Let the public know the truth. We cannot heal without justice. We cannot protect the future if we refuse to confront the past.
Think about it. That's us.
So she flew in a plane with Bill Clinton to Africa?
Give a round of applause for all the courage and strength that the
like, whoa.
That's how we really feel, but we act like we don't care.
We now will take a few questions. You can always get Congressman Massey, me, or Congressman Green in the hallways and other places. If you have questions for us, that's fine. But I wanted to see first if you have questions for the lawyers and the survivors, and Brad will facilitate any of the questions for the survivors. Yes.
She doesn't want to say anything really dumb. You can time them out.
Said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the word that he used. Do we get your reactions to what you think the media would say that?
I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally?
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us.
It's not what he meant as a hoax anyway.
To hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
The list and everything will be so watered down because they're adding names and there's no telling what's true.
Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison in the aftermath is a top one. You want that one?
Will anyone ask about Clinton? Will anyone ask about Clinton?
We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty.
Trump's the only one that talked to the FBI about the fucker.
She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very sort of light and minimizing term. She also participated in the abuse. She was a major architect of the scheme. And the fact that she's painted herself as a victim, I think is disgusting. And it was horrifying, I think, to us that we were not told about her prison transfer. We found out about it in the news.
Read the chat.
1 minute.
Didn't hear all my beers chat.
So, Anushka DiGiorgio, I testified alongside Annie at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell. I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to
Texas,
what's called a low security. It's really is like a holiday camp, and then afterwards I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children.
Wow. You got a flyover, huh? That's interesting.
Is that the military? I think there's a military flyover in D.C. today.
I was abused.
There's a military flyover in Washington. That's what that was.
10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse.
Was that on purpose?
Jeffrey Epstein. She was present. She was complicit. She was enabling, and it is appalling and disgusting. And it's one of my worst nightmares that she not only be transferred, but at the possibility that's very much going around that she might be pardoned. This is not okay, guys. This is not okay.
And I just want to add that I think it sends a very dangerous message to our country, to the young people in our country, that someone that we all know is aware of these crimes could be given a pass.
Just for the last one, the last survivor we got involved.
Yeah, what's his name? Bill Barr? Is it Bill Barr? Even dude that hates him said Trump has no affiliation.
It's like
with
insane.
it.
This is insane. She said. Let's see if we can see the planes.
There's a dogfight going on above them.
My first trip to the Palm Beach residence, I drove there from the airport with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Nope, this is the end. Finally, it came out, and now we all die.
Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends.
Damn it, Bruce
and
Willis.
His biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very close.
Go ahead.
Who?
One second.
What did she just say? Hold on. We have to go back.
Very good friends with Donald Trump. And Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends. And his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump.
What the?
He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very...
Who paid you? She didn't even finish this. She walked off before she finished. Who paid you to say that?
One second.
She's scared. Did you? Yeah.
So, Lisa, what's your envision here?
That pisses me off a lot.
We're reaching out to survivors that are scared.
You got a
We're
quilt
reaching out to survivors that are scared.
A quilt made with Donald Trump's head on
and
it?
that also know who they were trafficked to. So that's the list that we're compiling. We're not quite sure, how we're going to release that, or even if we're going to. The Department of Justice needs to release the list.
Right, because for folks at home, they might be confused. The survivors know
Yeah,
they've seen these powerful people.
Oh my God.
Why can't you say the names? Could you just explain?
Why do we have to say the names when the government knows the names? And we're also scared to do so. Look what's happened to so many of the survivors.
I'm starting to think this is not real.
I find the question about the film.
I think it's also worth saying that having represented, I think, between our firm and Boyce Schiller, hundreds of victims, and we've talked to them about the various people that they were farmed out to. So we've created somewhat of a list. Most of these individuals, the victims, are very scared to say these names because they could get sued, they're going to get attacked, and nobody protected them the first time. And that was against one person. So is there a list? There is a list, but just to dispel kind of the common theme here, every one of these women was abused by Jeffrey Epstein, and his scheme was to personally abuse women.
You just said it out
when
loud.
they reached a certain age, he did farm a section of them, some of them, out to some of his friends. That doesn't mean all of his friends. With that said, I'm more than happy to assist in helping create the list behind the scenes and see what we do with it.
Yeah, right?
Wow. Go ahead.
Wow. I think if someone's interested in prosecuting, they may have something different to say about sharing a list, but they're not sharing a list for nothing to happen, and that's the experience that they've had for all of these years.
Ask about Clinton. The lady said she traveled with Clinton.
Clinton's dead. He already...
yesterday had concerns about your names being released if this bill was passed. And some people I talked to today are not signing the discharge petition because they say you don't want them to. Can you clarify if that is accurate?
Do any of the survivors here not want the bill to pass?
First of all, our legislation, Ro Khanna and I went through this. We talked about this, and we were very careful to make sure that there is an exception
people are yelling at their
personally
TV
identifiable
right now?
information, not just their names, but anything they could be identified by would not be disclosed.
And can you speak to that as survivors response?
I think all of them are on the same page. They want everything released.
Yeah, he's already gone.
Yes, they unequivocally redact personally identifying information and release everything else. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Marina, you have stayed silent for so many years. Today, this is the first time you're sharing. You have never before gone public and to share this. Can you help us understand why today, why now, and why here?
Well, it is not okay for us to be silenced, and it's not okay for Jeffrey Epstein and everybody else to be put on a pedestal. I think everybody needs to hear from us because we know what went on, right? And there is not only me who's been silenced. There are hundreds of women that are silenced. My hope is to
get back
stop this abuse for the future.
Attacked about the names. You're going to get attacked more now because they're not fucking saying the names.
My daughter, for example, these women have daughters. They most definitely don't want that anymore. And I think mainly this is therapy for all of us too. You know, we want to be heard. Nobody also has never asked me to speak. That's also another thing. So I can say for all of us here, we are here. We want this bill to pass. It is very important. Okay, and we need transparency. We are tired of looking at the news and seeing Jeffrey Epstein's name and saying that this is a hoax. We are tired of it. We are done. We're not going to be silenced, and I hope that my voice will bring other survivors and other victims to come along and speak up so that we can be more of a stronger voice and louder.
And talk about this louder and speaking up.
Listen, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. Yeah, just pass the vote. Listen to us. This is not a hoax. Like, it's not going to go away. And like I said on my speech earlier, we're not going to be silenced anymore. We will be speaking moving forward wherever we
it's going to destroy countries.
We will be, and we need to pass this.
Go ahead.
It's going to... I got chills thinking about what it's going to do.
Some kind of list. Now we do DOJ that no list. Much across victims. What do you guys think? I know you're working.
And that's the reason it's not out right now.
Jeffrey Epstein.
The reason it's not out right now.
So there's not a list. Yes. So here's what it was. Just like you heard everybody today, Jeffrey Epstein created through an organization of enablers, of people that were on his payroll. It was a complicated scheme where others should still be investigated because they helped to enable him and operate this scheme. Without
really
those people, he could not have done this.
Really
but the purpose was for him to personally
there
abuse
won't be a
people.
government.
With that being said, certain of his friends, he farmed out certain of the women that he was exploiting too. But that wasn't the primary purpose of that scheme, and I don't think he wrote the names of those people down. There's not a list of, hey, here's all of the people that I sent females to. That's just not how that organization works.
Agreed?
Then
tied to the CIA or a foreign intelligence?
When it happens, I think that the safest thing for me to say is all files should come out, whether it is for this with the CIA, FinCEN, SEC, FBI. I'm not just making these up haphazardly. I'm giving you a roadmap where to look. Go ahead. Right. I'll go first and then I'll let them. They're much more important than me, but I don't understand why it's a hostile act. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that. He didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy? The world should know who he is, who protected him, and the other people that are out there to be investigated need to be investigated.
He's getting nervous.
Good.
Are there any people who are currently serving in government who are named, who you know of, are in these files, who you had relations with, anything of that sort, who Jeffrey Epstein connected you with? Are you willing to say yes or no?
I don't think I can answer that. Can't answer that? Sorry.
They named Clinton. Ask about Clinton.
I think she's referring to me.
Hi, Anushka DeGiorgio. I have been threatened. I was threatened by phone. My daughter was threatened when I was volunteering to participate in, by means of being a witness in a civil lawsuit that Virginia Giuffre was bringing against Ghislaine Maxwell. I have been followed. I have been stalked.
Look at the
I
glasses.
have been followed not only by journalists, but by people who do not get out of the car and do not try and talk to me and just drive behind me as I drive my daughter to school. So the fear is very real for us. Trump. I have also been in multiple situations with both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, where they have been direct and indirect about implying and saying that if I was to talk, if I was to bring any kind of trouble, then there would be severe consequence, including death.
Wow. Just to add to that, you know, Maxwell also threatened my sister Maria Farmer. You know, when the FBI did nothing about her initial report, you know, we did. She reported individually at that time, and then in 2002, we spoke to a reporter at Vanity Fair telling our stories, fearful that perhaps other people were being harmed. You know, we were not. We believed that was going to make a difference. We believed that would be put in print, and that story was crushed. And it was because of their power. And the message that we got from that was direct threats from Maxwell to my sister about her well-being and her safety and that of our family. So I think many people have similar stories of threats. That has been a very real part of this case.
Go ahead, over here.
Any of today's survivors, did anybody here ever have any connection or interaction with Epstein's alleged financial investment?
Nope.
All right.
I just want to say one thing that's very clear when people say, you know, please share names. There are names that are very well known, like that of Les Wexner, who everyone knows supplied an enormous amount of Epstein's, you know, financial wealth and allowed this operation to happen. So it's, I think, confusing to many of us why there have not been more ramifications for him.
Yes.
And he's been seen as a victim.
Correct.
When clearly, I believe there's more to it.
Correct. Les Wexner is the reason why Epstein's a billionaire.
I was thinking about like
Les Wexner.
two tinted windshields walking around in front of them.
Ellen Dershowitz, she alleged that on at least 6 days.
All right, next question. Next question. Thank you.
Why is it that she should be?
Yeah, no, we're not answering your question. Anybody else?
How did the victims feel about the interview that was given to Ghislaine Maxwell by Todd Blanche?
Why are you going to answer that question?
Okay, ma'am, I think that you had a question.
What was the question? Did you hear it? Don't make me go back. I'm going to go back real quick.
Okay, ma'am. question. Anybody else?
There. Les Wexner.
She eventually had to recant the allegations that she made against Alan Dershowitz. She alleged that at 6 days.
All right, next question. Next question. Thank you.
Yes. Why is it that she should?
Anybody else?
How did the victims feel about the interview that was given to Ghislaine Maxwell by Todd Blanche?
Why aren't you going to answer the question?
Okay, ma'am, I think that you had a question.
When you talk to the past
when you talk
to the past on MSNBC about the existence of the Epstein birthday book, have you yourself in the post-litigation seen it?
Hey, Lisa.
I don't know that we're able to reveal what we've seen and what we have not seen by way of protective order.
We've
But my
broken a
point
couple
being
TVs
in
now.
that circumstance was, if anybody wants answers, there's an easy place to get it. I told you where to get it. I said the estate of Jeffrey Epstein has it. Serve a subpoena on them. They'll turn it over. And if we had served a subpoena on them in the past, they would have turned it over and we would have seen it. Which I don't usually miss subpoenas like that. So there we go.
Go ahead. Make you think you're guilty.
You know, to your question about the allegations, there's a simple answer. Release the files. Let the American public decide. Instead of harassing, instead of, I gave you your say. Look.
Private individual among others. You're hired by Dershowitz. And then have to admit, other counsel.
You know, even
he knows what I'm talking about. That he made hugely salacious allegations against a whole
you've been heard. You've been heard.
Shouldn't you tell the public about this?
You've been heard. And even Alan Dershowitz says release the files. Release the files. That is the answer, and that's what we're here for. And that is
Goodness. Goodness. This is getting rowdy.
So they just silenced that.
Interactions with Donald Trump back in 2009.
Press.
Running the victims, they didn't ever see the president, but then not the president yet, but they never ever see Trump with Epstein.
This is like the fifth CNN question.
I don't think that we can answer that question. Did anybody see Trump with Epstein back then? This is really not a political thing. We want the passage of the bill, and this is not to call out President Trump.
Ask him about Clinton.
He was friendly back then, did not think that it was a hoax, and was trying to help. And now it seems like all of a sudden somebody's in his ear and he's not. So I'm hoping he'll come back to where he was back in 2009, be on the side of the victims and stand with us. Go ahead.
I guarantee Trump has something to say about this. Maybe. Might not.
Teresa will step up.
I would, Teresa J. Home. Happy to speak on that because what I will say is she got this airtime and platform. Her voice was elevated way before our voices were elevated here today. And that same calm, manipulative voice that she had so polite there that day with Todd Blanche was the same polite, coercive, manipulative voice that I heard as she was grooming me to then send me off to the home of Jeffrey Epstein where he would assault me. So that's what she was doing for hours, speaking with me, building relationship with me, building trust with me, allowing me to believe that I was going to get this job, a dream job that I had been recruited from my college, flown across the country from Los Angeles to New York City to interview, so I thought. So her voice that day was the same voice that sent me off to a monster. So
Streamlabs might not be working.
Nothing can be believed from what she says because she's been charged with perjury. I myself could sit there and listen, and as I did, I sat there and listened to this woman's voice lie.
Try a different one.
And there was no pushback from Todd Blanche because does he even have the facts to be able to push back on her? We could sit there and push back. Why didn't we get to attend that? Why weren't we there that day? Or why wasn't even one of us consulted prior to that day in that meeting? And why on earth has she been moved from Florida to her? It basically is prison spa. I mean, you know, let's be real.
What is that word?
None of us were consulted. I found out, just like everyone here found out, through the media, through all of you. We found out about Ghislaine's transfer. So I'm very angry to sit there and listen. The feelings that come up listening to this woman's voice is repulsive. Yes, I would say it's triggering. We all work very hard on healing, and it still gets to us after 2 decades. It's a very long answer, but it's repulsive to sit there and listen to her voice in her interview.
Can we take two more questions? One over here.
I can fix it. I do know how to do everything y'all know how to do.
JP Morgan to the Virgin Islands. Will you go after the DOJ, the FBI, because they're sitting on evidence?
Nope, I'm not messing with it. Y'all are doing it. Y'all said it's y'all's chat. Y'all do it.
I think that there's nobody that's immune from us going after them if there's a legitimate action to take. So to the extent that that evidence exists, then
I just drive.
Show it to us, and we'll help in every way we can. We stand with the victims. Okay. One more.
Can the survivors speak to speaking of being threatened and being afraid to come forward with their story to the case of Katie Johnson, who alleged that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't think we can talk about. I don't think we can talk about that case. I do think it's worth saying, though, despite the comments that he made, Virginia Roberts Giuffre is an American hero. She is somebody without whom we would not be able to have this voice. She was the one who had courage to name names, speak out against people, and she was standing up against everybody at one time with an enormous amount of pressure.
And most of these women are here because of Virginia Roberts Giuffre.
All right, last one.
What do the victims say? Do they think the innocent people are that he's protecting?
Clearly not us.
I don't think that anybody knows, but I can tell you that in the oversight committee meeting yesterday, they indicated that they were all for transparency, releasing the files, and asked us to hold them accountable. Is that right?
Yeah.
They said hold them accountable, so we intend to hold them accountable. We're going to show them where to go with it, and as long as they're doing their job, they should. I'm going to turn it back over to Ro Khanna. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Let me just say this. Let me say.
We are going to the White House where, so that's wrapped. The victims have spoken. Their lawyers have spoken. Major takeaways there is one of them has personal experience, horrifying experience with Bill Clinton. Not any reporter asked about it. I'm enraged at that. I'm so angry. CNN gets 15 questions about Trump. And here's the lady being like, I flew on a plane on the Lolita Express with Bill Clinton to Africa, and what happened on that plane destroyed my life. What? And nobody asked that question? I feel like I'm going insane. And then the major through line here is that the feds, like a decade ago, have been trying to stop, cover up, and protect Jeffrey Epstein, and we've known that and that has been well documented.
New people.
So I'm very glad the committee is looking into Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, Robert Mueller, who's apparently in a nursing home now, and so on, in order to figure out why that protection mechanism was put in place over Jeffrey Epstein. Horrifying stories. I'm very glad to have been able to broadcast that and to bring you that now. President Trump inside of the White House. Donald Trump live right now. This shot's live. This is the Polish president. Let's go.
We have some wonderful people, as you know. Duda, your friend, he's a good man and still a big fan of yours.
I just made that one up.
So it's a great honor, and we're going to talk about trade. We'll talk about some other things. We'll take a couple of questions from the media.
Will American soldiers remain in Poland? Will American soldiers remain in Poland?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know something I don't? I don't know. Yeah, we're very happy. If anything, we'll put more there if they want. But they've long wanted to have a larger presence. We have some countries that have more, not too many, but no, they'll be staying in Poland. We're very much aligned with Poland.
Sir, on Russia and China, you certainly asked about. We saw a dramatic picture where we saw the leaders of Russia and North Korea and China together. The first time the leaders of those three countries have been together in this sort of show of solidarity. You said that they're conspiring against the United States. What do you think they're conspiring to do? And given this, is it reason why you should slap or would consider slapping secondary sanctions on Russia if they're conspiring against the U.S. now?
Well, I've already done that with regard to India, and we're doing it with regard to other things. And I put out a truth last night. You saw that. And I was the one that brought it up. I said they're only doing this. They're looking to, when they did what they did, I thought it was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was very, very impressive. But I understood the reason they were doing it, and they were hoping I was watching, and I was watching. My relationship with all of them is very good. We're going to find out how good it is over the next week or two. I think that
that's what I call them.
We helped
My nerves
China
get
very
calmer
much, as you know,
when I go to pick him
when
up.
they talk about freedom.
I'm awake.
And I don't
I'm
believe
really
that,
awake.
and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't believe that America, that the United States was
got me all
acknowledged
fired up.
for helping China to get to gain its freedom. But perhaps that was just that was a sleight of hand. I mean, I was very surprised. I watched the speech last night. President
still
Xi's
just
a
need to
friend
get
of
that
mine.
shirt that said, "I told you
But
so."
I thought that the United States should have been mentioned last night during that speech because we helped China very, very much.
What was the reason? What was the reason? Mr. President, do you think they should have been invited?
Go ahead.
You have expressed many times your frustration and disappointment with Putin, but there's no action since you took your office.
How do you know there's no? How do you know there's no action? Really? Wait. Who are you with? Who are you with? Okay. How do you know there's no action? Would you say that putting secondary sanctions on India, the largest purchaser outside of China, they're almost equal? Would you say there was no action? That cost hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia. You call that no action? And I haven't done phase 2 yet or phase 3. But when you say there's no action, I think you ought to get yourself a new job, because if you remember 2 weeks ago, I said, if India buys, India's got big problems, and that's what happened. So don't tell me about that. Go ahead.
Mr. President, right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who is sponsoring a discharge petition to get the House to vote on these documents, says he doesn't think you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be.
Here we go.
Says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We give everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. And from what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax, because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about, because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough, because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
When you make a decision on Ukraine, Mr. President,
I have no message to President Putin. He knows where I stand, and he'll make a decision one way or the other. Whatever his decision is, we'll either be happy about it or unhappy. And if we're unhappy about it, you'll see things happen.
Venezuela,
can you give us a sense of what the U.S. policy or what you're trying to achieve with the aircraft carriers, or the boats, I should say, in near Venezuela, and also the boat that you mentioned yesterday where 11 people were killed? What was found on that boat, and why were the men killed instead of taken into
On the boat, you had massive amounts of drugs. We have tapes of them speaking. There was massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people. And everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat. And they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again. And I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape. They're going to say, let's not do this. We have to protect our country, and we're going to. Venezuela's been a very bad actor. They've been, as you know, they've been sending millions of people into our country. Many of them, Tren de Aragua, some of the worst gangs, some of the worst people anywhere in the world in terms of gangs. And we had some in Washington, D.C. We took care of them very quickly, but they're out of here. They're gone. But Venezuela's been very bad, both in terms of drugs and sending some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world into our country. They emptied out, you don't know this, but they emptied out their prisons in Venezuela, and they emptied them out into the United States of America. And that's part of the problem we have. We're getting them out. We're getting them out rapidly, but it's caused a tremendous problem. And Pete and all of the people that are working very hard to rectify the stupidity of the Biden administration, allowing these people to pour into our country with open borders. We are paying a big price as a country for the incompetence of the Biden administration. But think of it, opened up prisons, drug dealers, drug lords, everything coming out of Venezuela. They said, and we said, we're not going to put up with it anymore. So Venezuela has been one of the worst actors in the whole group, and we have a group of pretty bad actors.
Are you wanting to force the
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. At the end of this month, the government, Congress has passed a budget. Do you think we can avoid a government shutdown?
Yeah, I do. I think the Republicans will vote for an extension. We won't have any Democrat votes. We could give the greatest budget ever. Tax cut of 50%, everybody taken care of, perfect for women, perfect for men, perfect for minorities, perfect for everything, and we wouldn't get one vote for the Democrats because they've lost their mind. They are so deranged. They have Trump derangement syndrome, and I don't want to burn the Republican Party with it, but they really are. They've become almost sick. They actually think there is a disease. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. They've got it. No matter what we did, no matter how good, you could give them everything that they've ever dreamed of, and you wouldn't get one vote. These are sick people, and I think we're going to have a tremendous midterm. We just approved the largest tax decrease in the history of our country. We have things, when you think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security for our seniors, no tax on overtime, deductions when you buy a car and you borrow money to buy a car. First time they've ever seen anything like this. Middle-income people get deductions. You get a deduction when you buy a car. Nobody's ever seen. And by the way, they're selling cars like crazy. Cars are pouring back because of the fact that we have tariffs. Cars are pouring back into our car plants are pouring back into our nation. They're coming from all over the world. They're coming back. You know, we lost about 54% of automobile manufacturing over a 30-year period, 35-year period. They're all coming back. I think they're coming back higher than ever before. We have AI going up. What we've done is amazing, and what we've passed is amazing. But the Democrats, I don't believe, will get one vote. It's very anti-crime. We want anti-crime. They're in favor of crime. We're against crime. You know, they gave us things like men playing in women's sports, open borders for everybody, transgender for everybody. I mean, they wanted transgender for all of the crazy things that they were saying. And, you know, people would say they're 80-20 issues. I say they were 97-3. I always say 97-3, and nobody knows who the three are. This is the best issue of all. They are against preventing crime. They are fighting us. I want to go into Chicago, and I have this incompetent governor that doesn't want us. Do you know that this weekend 72 people were shot in Chicago? I'm embarrassed to say it in front of the president of Poland. 11 people were killed. 72 people were shot. Last week, 7 people were killed in Chicago, a place which is probably your #1 place. I hate to say it, but safe, and we got to keep it safe. but 7 people were killed. The week before that, 5 people were killed and 21 people were shot. This is in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, they lost almost 35 people were killed. It could have been stopped. If you look at Washington, D.C., 3 weeks ago, it was the same or worse. And now it's considered a totally safe zone. Restaurants are open, they're bustling. Restaurants, you have to see, restaurants were dying. Nobody wanted to go out. They didn't want to be attacked. They didn't want to be mugged. They didn't want to be attacked even in the restaurant. And you take a look at what's happened. Friends of mine that haven't gone to a restaurant in 4 years, one of them went out 5 times in the last
finish the job.
2 weeks to a restaurant with his family. They feel totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a totally safe.
He's got to finish the job because they're just going to sit back and wait 3 years. You got to take them all out, and this time. And I have a feeling that might be when our time is to step up 3 years from now, when they steal it again. I just have a feeling.
And straighten out a very nice section of this country that's become quite tough, quite bad. So we're going to be going to maybe Louisiana, and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks. Easier than D.C. But we can straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us. To go into Chicago, and we don't have the support of some of these politicians. But I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago. And I sort of want them to let it be known. They have incompetent people. A guy like Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of a state that if we didn't go into Los Angeles with our soldiers, with our National Guard, you wouldn't even be having the Olympics there. They were going to take it. And remember this, your top law enforcement officer in Los Angeles said, there's no way we could have done this without President Trump coming in with the
trying to make Trump happy, but I don't.
And we saved the Olympics. Thank you very much.
I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
Mr. President, in regards to Gavin Newsom, would you be open to
She kind of just goes with whatever in the moment. Because didn't she also say Trump was part of the...
there's any negligence on Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass in regards to those things?
Well, I tell you, there's negligence on not getting people permits. That is negligent.
She went against Trump
all of the federal permits. Lee Zeldin. The federal permits are much more difficult. They were all gotten within 30 days. People could go build their houses. It's going to be years before they are allowed to build their house. And Karen Bass is grossly incompetent. And Newsom,
when she wanted red flag laws for firearms there at the beginning too.
There's something wrong with them.
Where
you watch him.
Cops can just say,
"Oh,
well, we're going to keep your guns so your court date."
He didn't allow the water to come from the Pacific Northwest. You know, they have tremendous amounts of water in California. People don't know. They send the water out to the Pacific Ocean. So I demanded it be open. If that were open during the fire, before the fire,
but now she's flipped it.
Had the fire because all the sprinklers would have worked in the houses. They had no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants. You wouldn't have had the fires. It would have been put out after one house.
I think she has enough people behind her.
But he stopped the water from
to make her tough enough.
And I had to send in the military to have that water open after the fires. And now that water, but
I think she's starting to get it because she flipped it.
They still restrict
180 from going red flag laws to getting us felons with non-violent
investigation. I view it as
crimes are
gross incompetence. I view it as an ideology that's wrong. It's a radical left ideology. And if I didn't win this election, I think our country would be destroyed. I don't believe you'd be here right now, and our country would be destroyed. Yeah.
That's right. I trust.
Well, it's just the relationship we have. I think there's a great trust.
There is one, you say?
More than most countries, more than almost any countries. We have some in a category that's very special, and Poland is in that category. We have a very special relationship. It's like the question about the soldiers that was asked. We never even thought in terms of removing soldiers from Poland. We do think about it with regard to other countries.
I don't want to say Musk.
But we would never know.
It would be her,
We're with
in my
Poland
opinion.
all the way, and we will help Poland.
Musk already
protect
showed his
itself.
and apologized and showed his.
I would like to add something.
Bill Gates is spending way too much time over there.
Important also for our relation, and I'm a historian, as you know. Maybe.
Real close.
Vance? I'm a historian, and this is the first
Vance
time
is
in
all
Polish
Marine.
history, in 20th century and the 21st century, that the Poles are happy that we have foreign soldiers in Poland. So
Marjorie
the
Taylor
American
Greene?
soldiers are the part of our society. Nowadays we have almost 10,000 soldiers, and this is the signal to the whole world and also the Russian Federation that we are together. But we are not
really didn't like
the
that press
Poles
conference.
riders in Europe and in NATO. Mr. President Trump knows it, because our GDP for military service achieved 4.7. So we are probably the one NATO nation which is on this level, and we will not stop. Me, as the president of Poland, we are going to achieve 5% of GDP for military service, but with American soldiers on Polish soil, we solidified and we are secure.
Just about that, Poland was one of two nations that paid more than they were supposed to with NATO. I don't know if anyone knows that, but there were two nations, and Poland paid more than they were supposed
He
to.
listens to
Low. And by the way, since
Peter
then,
Thiel a lot, I
at
think.
my request, they've raised it from 2% to
That
5%.
dude
But Poland was one of two
is as
nations
bad as
that
they
paid
come.
more than they were supposed to, which was a very nice thing. Yeah. Never even
We're saying all the
thought
right
about
sizzle
it.
words, YouTube. Come on, get my album.
Never even thought. It wouldn't have been my place to be. I might. Sure. How do you know? Because I am going to. You want me to prove you wrong? You want me to prove you wrong? Yes, please. But I will. I think it's something we could consider doing. Love to do it. I love the White House food, but after a while, I can see going to a nice restaurant. It's safe. If you would have said, like the Governor Moore wanted me to go and walk through Baltimore with him, and I said, I think I'm a brave guy, but there's no reason to be stupid. They have crime that's at levels that nobody's ever seen before in Baltimore. They've done a terrible job. We'd go into Baltimore, straighten it out very quickly, too. You know why? They respect our soldiers. You see our soldiers. They respect our soldiers. We'd go there, too. But we're going to have people asking us to go. They're going to want to, and I think the people of those places the politicians are not in tune with the people. The people in Chicago, the people in Baltimore, the people in all of the places we talk about, they want to see us there. And I think we're pretty much waiting till we get asked and properly. We're doing them a big service. Yeah.
Talk about how historic revenue for our country. You also mentioned before it could possibly replace federal income tax.
Possible.
You think that
Someday it's possible. It used to be. So if you go back to
All right, Lisa, you wanna hang
1913
out?
is when they ended tariffs. We were the richest
I may be
ever from
stuck in a picking
1850. It was all tariffs. We didn't have income taxes. From 1850 to 1913. In the
I think that's where I'm going.
1887, about 1887, they had the Great National Tariff Act. And it was a group of people that got together because our country was so rich, they didn't know what to do with the money. We had so much money, they didn't know what to do. It was a group of very prominent people that were set up to hand out money to everybody because we were the richest we ever were. Proportionately, we were in 1887, around that time, even in 1913. We ended them in 1913. How did that work out? And then we went to the income tax system, and then we had the Depression. And by the way, a lot of people try and say that, tariffs with the Depression. No, they ended in 1913, and then we went to income tax, and then in 1929 you had the Depression. They did try and bring it back in 1931-32, but the Depression had long started, and this poor, beautiful nation was gone. It was gone. We suffered for 25 years. It took 25, 30 years to really recover from the Depression. And we don't ever want to see that happen again. The tariffs are vital to the success of this country. When I say I ended 7 wars, at least half of those wars were ended because of the power of tariffs. I was able to say, well, we're not doing any business with you, or if you're going to war, we're putting a big tariff on you. and all of a sudden they announced that the war was settled. I settled 7 different wars, one going 31 years, look at the Congo and Rwanda, look at that, 31 years, 10 million people dead. I got it settled. And a little bit of that one, less than in some cases, had to do with trade and had to do with tariffs. So, tariffs are vital to our country. And just so you know, other countries use them on us, but I just use them a lot better. We're in a much better position. We have trillions of dollars coming into our country. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a very poor nation, and we would be taken advantage of by every other nation in the world, friend and foe. We're not going to let that happen. And we have a very, very big case in the Supreme Court. I can only say this. Our country has a chance to be unbelievably rich again, but it can also be unbelievably poor again. If we don't win that case, our country is going to suffer so greatly.
What's the backup plan, sir?
But I think we're going to have a big victory. Even if you look at the people that brought the case, they're foreign-oriented. They're foreign. Countries have taken advantage of the United States for so many years. And I started with China. Last term, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs from China. But when COVID came, the last thing I was going to do is we're going to tariff France and Italy and others, Spain, when they were doing so badly. But now we made a deal with the European Union
generations of
where they're paying us almost
that have never worked a day, like a real job in their life.
They're happy it's done.
It's
These deals are all done. I guess we'd have
they're
to
all in a
unwind
circle,
that.
like a
We've
little.
done deals with Japan, with
they're
South
picked
Korea.
as
We've done
children.
deals with many countries and others to come.
Like how did Kamala Harris get as high as she did to vice president?
Prestige and dignity of
No
tariffs.
fucking way.
And I used them wisely. And people respect America
There's
again.
no way.
And we've
They
become a
just
rich
pushed her
country
through.
again. The money coming in is incredible. And again, they use them on us. If we didn't have them, they would use them on us, and we would have no way to fight them. We would be a third world nation. So I think it's one of the most important cases I've ever seen go before the Supreme Court of the U.S.
You gave Vladimir Putin a 2-week deadline to agree to talks with Volodymyr Zelensky. That deadline is now nearly approached. Can you give us any indication when you will make a decision?
Well, I'm having a conversation with him very shortly, and I'll know pretty much what we're going to be doing. We've taken very strong action, as you know, and in other ways we've taken very strong action. But I'll be speaking to him over the next few days, and we're going to see.
With who, sir?
I'm going to know exactly what's happening. But I'm not happy with all the people. You got 7,819 people killed last week. Russian soldiers and Ukraine soldiers, right? Not American soldiers, not soldiers from Poland, but they're human beings, they're souls. They have parents, they wave goodbye to their parents, and the parents never see them again. That's the end of it. Over a stupid war. And I want to see it stopped. Now, we have stopped the money we send weapons to NATO, they pay full price. We don't, Biden spent $350 billion so stupidly. And it was one of the reasons that this whole thing happened. A big reason this war happened, we're sitting right in these chairs, this one in particular. So I will tell you that I think we're going to have a good solution. But they're losing soldiers at levels that nobody has seen since the Second World War. This is the worst conflict, and it's just going on and on. It's one's defense, one's offense. The offense moves a little bit, just a little bit. You take a look. They move inches. They're dropping bombs and killing everybody. The whole thing is not since the Second World War has there been anything even close to this. And they're not soldiers from my country. This is my country. But I have a power to end things. That's why I was able to end 7 other wars. And you know that I thought of the 7. They're basically 7. Those are tough wars to end. Much tougher, I thought, than the war with Ukraine and Russia. I thought that Ukraine and Russia have a very good relationship with President Putin. I thought that would be much easier. I thought that would be in the middle of the pack, maybe one of the easiest. Sometimes you never know with war. War is a very interesting thing. You never know with war. War is complex and dangerous, and what a mess, what a bloody mess. It's going to get done one way or the other. But they have to stop killing all of these souls. There's souls, and we have to stop killing. Thank
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolutely rip-roaring morning. And as ever, when there's lives like this, I got to hop off and do Piers Morgan. So we're going to jump quickly to that. We have had a rowdy morning and a lot of news. Make sure that you are locked into the channel as we will be covering all of it on Piers Morgan as well. But also throughout the day, we're going to break down everything that happened, some major and wild things right before us. I guess the big one is that the Epstein victims will be creating their own Epstein list, that they'll be naming the people who abused them. And
well, they better
one
hurry
of the
up and start
names
naming
was
people.
Bill Clinton. Now, don't expect
They don't have a good track record of staying
horrendous press corps
healthy.
to ask any questions about that when it's just
Allegedly.
literally red meat sitting right in front of you. This is why we are sending reporters. Thank you for supporting this channel. We're sending reporters. We have a White House reporter now. We have a reporter in D.C. His name's Danny D'Urbina. He's going to be doing on-the-ground reporting for us, okay? We're going to work very hard on building a structure where we can get the proper questions asked. So it's not just me screaming and you screaming. It's actually the chat asking the questions. We've already done that at the White House a couple times. And get ready, we're going to be doing a lot more of it. Who will be powering us as we do that? Our dear friends at Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee fills my now empty cup this morning as we've been chugging probably too much coffee. They are made right here in the beautiful state of Florida. They are friends of us. They're patriots, and they love you, the American people. That's why they make their coffee right here. That's why their coffee actually tastes like coffee. That's why it powers the incredible patriots that run this country. And it's also why the people who run this company, there's American flags literally everywhere. I've seen their facility, and they are truly living out the American dream. Help power your American dream with Blackout Coffee. If you believe in America and hard work and values, this is coffee that actually tastes great. Drink blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 20% off your first order. Support the American dream. Drink Blackout Coffee. Blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Stop settling for less and drink real coffee. Our verse of the day, ladies and gentlemen, as we've had to apologize for, well, unfortunately, we had to cut 3 members of Congress, actually, the Senator, Byron Donalds, and Chip Roy. And so I
Chip, huh?
sincerely apologize to them. We've just been live with these massive breaking news, and now we have to skip off to another live interview. So here we go. Watch and stand fast in the faith, be brave and strong, from 1 Corinthians 16:13. Watch, stand fast in the faith, be brave and be strong. We pray constantly. I pray
I'm
this
actually
morning
going to mute myself.
on my knees.
You just talk and I'll talk
like,
too.
sit there and you just like have peace with God and like pray. Strength, wisdom,
do it that way.
knowledge, self-control, things that I fail at daily, but that's why you got to pray for them, right? And our God is a big God. So we also pray for truth on this program. There's a program that will bring you truth without fear or favor, and as we march forward, we know confidently that in the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Yeah, right. There's just y'all too. It's just you two. Unless you haven't been able to hear me the whole time. That would be awkward. How are you answering my questions? That's wild. I'm in good company. Good company. The squirrel's on his way. Oh. Oh. Maybe we're getting shadow banned. Yeah. You gotta know the ears, just like the eyes. They look crazy eyes. You gotta watch out. Let's see. I'm in search of a throttle body. Not a body to throttle. That was out loud. What is that place called? Wrench Apart? Wrench Apart. They're going to split them up. I believe they're going to split Google up into multiple companies. Possible.
Stage dead. Willow Springs, 942. 123.
The screen goes black. Boom. We're gone. We both lose our vision.
Attention 614. That's 24.
I think I saw these already. God, they ripped these apart. Show me when did I get there? We could have something. Is that engine still in there? 72425?
7011 Creek
No.
Drive. Let's see, Lavero and Pauline, map 99. For a residential fire alarm, let's not give a location. 1125.
Alright, well, it's just us.
Receive. You can go ahead and show all sounds of the scene is clear and available at this time.
If anything comes up, I'll go back live. I'm just gonna go over here and I don't even think I'm gonna go with picnic pool because I don't have anything that I'm looking for. Nope. Unless I go to Austin. There's one in Holland, Lubbock. How far is the Austin one over here? If I go to Austin one, I'll come back on live. That's a good drive. But thank you to my one viewer. Oh, two. I will. Exactly. I'll talk to y'all after a while. Have a swell day. Peace.